Welcome back to Two Kims One Pod. I'm one of your hosts. I'm Peter Kim.
And I'm your other host, Unji Kim.
And welcome back to the podcast. We just did two very hot, steaming, career-ending Patreons. So go check that out.
For Peter, just for Peter, not for
just for me. If you're updated on the Blake Lively, Justin Baldoni, It Ends With Us drama on TikTok, I have a little piping hot tea for you.
It was piping.
So go check that out. And then the second Patreon is about comedy. And actually, we're going to be talking about comedy right now because we're both comedians, obviously. And Unji just went to a festival in Ohio, one of my least favorite states. And I'd love to hear all about that.
So I'd never been to Ohio before. First of all,
I
had never been to Ohio before. I had to drive there. Very nervous driver. I drove for 6 hours by myself. Sorry to all the trucks that were... Sorry to all the truck. I will say this is, Peter, I discovered a new demographic of people that hate me. And trucks, because they did not like what I was doing out on the road. And
No, they can't.
So I had to pull off multiple times. But whatever. I went to the comedy festival. It's like maybe the first out of state like comedy festival I've done outside of improv, you know? Mm-hmm. And
that's not true. You went to the New York the Jewish comedy festival.
Yes, that's true. Right. But you know, like something like where it was much more about like younger comics kind of like hanging, the sort of vibe, you know, and there were like bookers there and all this stuff. And it really been a minute where I've been around like a bunch of comics that I don't really know. And
yes,
and I was also in and out. Right. So I just featured for River Butcher, was great. And
I love River.
And River's great. And then
great.
And then I left right afterwards to do like another spot. And
in the same festival?
Yes. But it was like a walk-on spot. It was just like I just did 5, which was Psycho.
What?
And yeah, so I was trying to do, by the way, speaking of bombing, I walk on, I just started to do new material, and I didn't realize this. Someone else told me afterwards, but they had been calling my name, but I was locked outside, so I couldn't come in. And so they've been calling my name. I walk on, and I'm kind of like, and I'm like kind of full of it. Like I'm kind of like full of like a kind of energy. So I only have 5, so you got to come in. And I'm about to do all new, like a pretty like long new bit about the Olympics and like the vacation and stuff like that. So I'm coming in hot, and everyone is like recoiling, and I'm like having to take all this time to like figure out what the fuck is happening in the room. I'm like, why are you guys really are not liking me? Like, it's like this lady over here likes me, this like, it's like very small pockets, like I can feel it, because it was like a kind of hot room, and the stuff I was doing should have been working, like because I was listening to what had been working, right? And so I was trying to figure it out, so I'm like spending all this time and trying to reset because I didn't know what had happened.
Within the 5-minute set.
This is what I mean. It was fucking work.
Oh my God.
It was work.
Ugh.
You know, because I couldn't push forward because I didn't know that they had been calling my name. Because if I had known
when did you find that out?
Afterwards.
Oh, okay. That makes sense.
Because I couldn't figure it out. Because if I had
known, the crowd was angry with you because they were waiting?
something. They were like, there was like a hiccup in the rhythm of the thing, right? So they didn't trust me, so I had to bail on this new material and all this stuff and try to just like figure out what the fuck was happening. And you know, whereas if I had just known that before I went on, I could have addressed it up top.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Exactly.
And so whatever, that's fine. But just to kind of go off of kind of what we were talking about in the Patreon, I will say this. I have forgotten what it was like to be like a woman, be a mother, be married. I had forgotten what it was like to literally watch the interest drain from men's eyes in real time. It was so fascinating because it'd been because everybody knows, you know, like here there's like, and I don't curry that type of favor, or like there's never been a man who's been in a conversation with me who walks away being like, I think she liked what I had to say. Like, you know what I mean? No one.
No, I can't imagine that.
Like, I'm not interested in what you have to say. Like, I don't care about your opinion. And that compounded by the fact, like that being my demeanor, and also they can't fuck me. I don't want to fuck them.
Yeah.
Just like I've forgotten what that was like. I've forgotten that
what the
kind
real
of,
world is like.
Yeah, I've forgotten about that kind of misogyny. I really had because at the end of the day, they're always going to want to talk to another male comic, or like it's a 24-year-old like blonde white, girl.
And was this true for both sets or just the 5-minute set?
The longer set was fine, but it was just like
Oh,
it was
okay.
a full show, and even then it was kind of like, well, what can I do for them? Right? Like what I don't have any sort of real power here, like all these things. And it's like, also, I'm not going to, this is the thing, even with the 24-year-old, who's bad at comedy, let's say that she's just started after pandemic in 2022. Even though you're never going to book her, she has nothing interesting to say. And you don't even find her attractive, but the possibility for fucking still exists. And so you'll have a conversation with her and we'll build a relationship. At the very least, you'll learn her name. And so then in 3 years, when she is better, at that point, you've already have this relationship, and now you book her because she is better.
Yeah.
The part that like really got me in my spiral was that when I was worse at comedy and when I was a younger comic, and this happened to me all the time, I used to comfort myself with the knowledge that once I was undeniable, once I was better at it, that somehow it would rectify this issue.
Interesting.
You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
I really did think like, oh, once I'm undeniable, once I'm better at the thing, once I'm able to do the stuff, surely. But there was no version of that.
Interesting.
There was no, like, even the fact that,
And you could get all that in that 5 minutes, like, and on top of the fact that like you were locked outside. You know what I mean? Like,
I'm not
there's
talking about
so
on
much.
stage. I'm not talking about
Oh.
on stage. I'm
What are you
talking
talking
about,
about? Like,
I'm talking about with the comics.
The hang.
I'm talking about the
I
hang.
see. I thought you were talking about the
No.
audience. Oh,
The
you're
audience-
talking about.
No, the audience is the audience is the audience. I mean, again,
Yeah.
I've been doing it for X amount of time, so like I don't.
Oh, okay.
You know what I mean? I can
Yeah,
either handle
whatever.
it or I'm not. Like sometimes they're with you or they're not. It's the audience is the ocean. You know what I mean?
You're talking about the green room experience.
I'm talking about
the
the green
holding
room.
area, the talent. Oh,
The hang.
interesting.
The
So
hang.
all these young comics are not giving you the time of day because they're like, I'm not gonna fuck her. Wow.
Because like once they find out that I am married, they want, like, you know what I mean? Any sort of interest they might have had,
Yeah.
gone.
What about the interest of like, hey, you're a Chicago headliner, so like I can possibly borrow your clout when I come to Chicago? None of that?
I think it's like maybe if I had, I mean, maybe that is sort of on me. Maybe if I had a more welcoming personality. If I had a little more of a welcoming or
Yeah.
open vibe. No, I mean, I don't.
Inviting.
I think that did happen, and it does occasionally happen. But I don't necessarily seem like I have that kind of power either. And I don't put it out there like that.
Right.
Whereas like I think a lot of male comics would. I'm headlining here. I'm doing
Interesting.
this. I'm that. Like I would
Yeah.
just never say that. For me, I am always not yet a peer.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
And people didn't find anything useful out of you.
That's right.
Interesting. Wow. And all you had to do was drive 6 hours to Ohio to figure that out.
And back. Brutal. Truly brutal.
Brutal.
I mean, it's
was it?
that sort of that.
Did you get paid for the other gig?
Oh yeah. I mean, not
Okay.
for the short set, but like the short set.
No.
Yeah.
The river set.
Yeah, yeah,
Okay.
for sure.
Great. Okay.
I mean, it
Well,
was
at
just
least
like-
there's that. But it is 12 hours of driving and
hourly, minimum wage. But like I mean, the thing is, like, there's nothing that replaces doing time, like real time on the road. And like for that, I'm grateful. But it was like, it's one of those situations where I think even, I don't know, like I do forget because we work in a different sort of environment, but I was talking to my mom friends about it, and it's like, right, this type of misogyny is sort of like fundamental regardless. And it is not even like as just as a woman. It's very specifically like motherhood, wifedom, like where
Yeah.
you are no longer like on the shelf,
On the fuckable.
on the fuckable shelf.
Yeah, yeah.
You're expired.
You're that shelf in the back of Ralph's.
I'm
where
dented.
It's like
I'm dented cans.
must go now.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Where like
Yes.
the bananas are going rotted, and they're
you
like,
can-
just
yes.
take it.
If you
Yeah,
can stand the
that's where you
smell,
are.
if you can stand the
Yeah.
smell, I am discounted. Like it's like that's the vibe, and so
Yeah.
it's that. Like, and you,
Damn.
I just remember in my mind just like wanting to be like, please just perceive me, like
Yeah.
look at me.
Yeah.
I am I am a comic just as you are.
I am
like,
worthy,
I am,
yeah.
like there are times when I would argue that there are also like even male comics that are like the good ones that like always go out of the way to be like, what do you have to say, woman? You know what I mean? Like I'm a feminist. I'm a male feminist, like that kind of thing. And they always even go out of their way to be like, it must be so difficult as a mother, as this. And I'm like, honey, I'm on my third tequila soda, and I've just talked about doing whippets on stage. Like we are the same. Like stop trying to make
other me.
yes in this way
Yeah.
that like you think affirms me, and it doesn't.
Yeah.
You know?
Interesting. Because like I wonder, would they say that to a white mom? Like, would they say that to Lori Kilmartin?
I'm sure they would.
That fucking sucks.
But Lori is
That
also
fucking
yes,
sucks, because
yes.
if you could get to Lori's level as
Yes.
a mother comedian, and people just still look at you as mom.
yeah. I mean, I wonder if there are some male
What a
comics out there.
horrific experience.
Dude, it's
Truly.
like it is one of those things where I wonder, at least with Lori, like just knowing Lori's like consummate professionalism, and also like her threshold for bullshit being so close to the ground. Like I like, I wonder if there are like male comics that have learned a lesson where they've said something and she's been like, oh, what about, and then they're like they walk away being like, yeah, I'm never gonna say shit like that again, because there
I
are
could see that.
because
I could
there
see her. Yeah.
because I've had conversations like that. Like, don't fucking do that. Like, said like, you know,
Yeah.
I'm on this, I'm that. Like, I'm hanging out here with you. What do you mean, where are my kids?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like,
The fuck do you need, what do you want to know about my kids for? Fucking
Yeah.
pedo.
yeah.
Yeah.
Because this is the thing, even within corporate America, there is no universe where a man being a father is going to limit his opportunity work-wise.
No. Why would it? You're a
Because
father.
because I
You
mean,
don't-
like, even yes, because like the thing is like
Parent.
because like dating wise, this thing, of course it will, it should, but work wise, the fact that as a mother that it does
Yeah.
anything to my opportunities to work, that's the misogyny there. That to
Yeah.
me is like, because culturally, dating wise, sure, it changes my dating opportunities and my pool. Fine.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's your personal preference. You don't want to fucking deal with another man's kid. Fine.
Yeah.
You don't want
Yeah,
to deal with
yeah.
another woman's kid. Fine. But like work wise, no one's going into HR. No man
I
is
mean,
not.
Louis C.K. made an entire career talking shit about his kids. Like, what the fuck?
But
Every
like,
male comic ever.
and the thing is, like, no booker is like, oh, I don't want to book him. He's a dad.
Yeah. Is
He
gonna
does
be
dad
Does
material.
he have time? Yeah. No.
He does
No.
dad material. Who? It's like it's got to be.
There's
a
no such
specific night.
thing. I've never even heard of dad material. I don't even know what that is.
Exactly, because dad material is stuff about family.
It's just men's material. Yeah. And then anytime a woman's talking about something else, they're like, oh, no.
It's like lady stuff.
It's lady stuff. Yeah. I kind of experienced that misogyny in a lesser, obviously, way, but kind of in a different slant. In that, I wonder if you ever experienced this. Like, do men ever come up to you after shows and be like, oh, you were actually funny?
All the time. Well, not
Oh,
as often
really?
as I would like.
No, but the term
Actually. Yeah.
Oh, you actually made me laugh.
Yes.
That kind of thing.
Yes.
That happens to me so much from straight men, especially straight, usually like toxic facing men.
Yeah.
And I will say this happens a lot in San Diego near the military base, where whenever there's like a big military crowd, they without fail will come up to me not make eye contact, slap me on the back super hard, and be like, "Yeah, you're actually funny."
Yeah.
Like, because they couldn't believe they could be made to laugh by a gay man.
Yes.
And secondly, if they did laugh and acknowledge me, they have to come up to me afterwards, avoid eye contact, and tell me that usually they would not find someone like me funny.
Yes.
But I did push past that threshold. It is so... and they are saying it in a way, they're like, oh, you'll love this. You'll love my compliment. My justified compliment.
Yeah.
And they don't understand how fucking demeaning that is.
Yes.
Because you would never go up to a straight white dude and be like, oh, you were actually funny. Because you're going there, and if you see a straight white man on stage, you're thinking comedian. But when you see me or you or any aberration on stage, they're going, guest? Like, what is happening?
I mean,
Why
yeah,
are
and
you
they're
here?
going to only talk about this. You know, I typically
Like
say...
being Asian or being gay or being a woman or blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
And it's like, that straight man, white man is talking about man stuff. You just don't think of it as man stuff. You just think of it as stuff.
Uh-oh. Yes. Yeah, I mean, you think of it as the default human experience. And what's shocking to
Right.
people is that when we talk about our default human experience, somehow it resonates because it turns out we are also human.
Whoa. It's so crazy. That's insane. I would have never guessed.
You know, I mean, that's the joy, and that is the value of having a diverse lineup. That's the value of having a club, having a diverse headliner, like as a calendar, because it turns out that people that are competent comedians can make different perspectives resonate with all people because we're all human.
So weird. So odd. I would have never guessed.
I've been trying to do that to straight white dudes. I'll go up to them and be like, "Whoa, like I wasn't expecting you to laugh, but like you kind of surprised me." And like
I love that. I want to just go up to Mark Norman and be like, "Oh, you're actually funny."
yeah, like I was kind of expecting like you to only talk about Ohio and Catholic stuff, but like I kind of got it. I mean, like, because that's the thing. It's like whenever I have POC students concerned about like doing too much of their identity or like doing too much, or I'm like, no non-POC comedians ever worried that they're doing too much dating material. They're doing too much stuff about their like white middle class existence. The next time I hear anybody talk about a fucking vacation, I'm gonna be like, boo! Like, I mean, what are you talking about? Like, your family went on vacations. That's not relatable to me.
And that sucks that these kids or younger students or comics are worried about talking about their experience.
Even when
because they don't want to seem like, that's true. When we were coming up, but when we were coming up right before Trump, it was like
we were the onlys. We would be.
We were the onlys, and it was actually pushed to talk about it.
Yes,
because it's what made you stand out.
Yes,
you know what I mean, and it's what makes your life. What's most visceral about your life that you want to write about is your othering.
Of course,
that's all of comedy. It's like,
yes,
am I crazy? You know, that's like all of comedy. Is like, am I insane? Like that. That's all comedy is pointing out the like anachronistic craziness about our lived experiences in a funny way. And mine just happened to be the way I look, the way I love, the way whatever I do that's different from the mean or whatever. Yes. So like, of course I'm going to be talking about it. Like if a guy has a bad date story, he's going to be talking about it because it's an aberration from the norm. Like you're not going to just talk about a story that's good. What's funny about that?
I went to the store. Everything went according to plan.
Yeah.
Can you believe it? You guys have ever a day that kind of works out perfect?
So relatable.
And then you go home and you still like want to die. Like, I mean, like it had been a minute where since I'd had an experience like that. I will say that it just had really been a minute, and it's fine. There's nothing like horrible about the place or the people. It was just, this is what it is, and I think both of us forget sometimes, because I will say I felt foolish, Peter, for forgetting, because
I get that,
because I felt
you
I
should
was
know
like,
better.
I should know better. I literally
this many years in.
I should know better. And it was like
You should
I
know
was
better.
mad at myself for being upset and like letting it get to me in any way, because I was like, because usually what happens is I would walk away, as I did, thinking in my mind, I cannot wait to have enough clout to step on all of your necks.
Yeah.
And that's
Vengeance.
That's like
Yeah.
usually what happens, right? I walk away thinking all the ways in which I will, mete
Usurp
out,
and-
yes,
yeah.
mete out revenge, find justice, and wreak vengeance on their lives in the future when I have more.
Accordingly.
Of
Yes.
course, yes, absolutely. And I wouldn't think about it. It wouldn't bother me. Next day, turn the page, right?
Right.
But
It bothered you.
It bothered me, and it just
Yeah.
usually doesn't.
What did that tell you? That you've been bereft of a non-Chicago experience?
Yes.
Like
And it
it's
did
been too
revive.
good.
Not been too good, because
sweet.
no, I just want you to know things are not going too good.
We
you
are
to be-
far from too good.
Yes.
Okay.
There's not too much good at all.
We're
I want
not
you
even
to-
close to good.
Yes. I don't want
Much
wait,
less
wait.
too good.
I don't want you to think things are going too good.
No.
Just reminds me. I get a lot of after shows like, oh, you were actually funny, or like I didn't think. I get that, and I also get a lot of I get a lot of straight white men who look at me and think I could do that too, and I get a lot of white men being like, so how do you get started?
LOL, no.
Like something about the way I
The
do
fact
comedy.
that you do comedy and it inspires confidence in men is
Like-
absolute trash, and you need to rethink everything about your life.
Like truly something about the way I do comedy makes white men be like, I could do that. Like it really is upsetting.
That doesn't look hard at all.
Yes. Something about it that makes them think like, yeah, how hard could it be? This bitch is doing it. Like
Yeah,
truly.
yeah.
And
Yeah.
that is a shame, and I am sorry to do this to the world. But that is my
Yeah. No, I mean, in a way, I know what you mean, but in a way, that almost is the opposite. Like, for
Yeah.
someone to make comedy look easy is a huge compliment.
yes, and fun.
Because if
right?
someone
Yeah.
watched you and was like, "Phew, that looked hard, I don't think I can do that." That's the worst. That's when you need to go home, power down, get a pot of boiling water because things are getting rough, and it's an emergency situation. Fill the bathtub, bitch, because alert, a hurricane's coming.
There's just something I think is so funny, but I get a lot of those. I get a lot of people being
That's
like,
so
how do you get
fucked.
started? Like this. Like it seems, but yeah, like I will say that there was I felt foolish for having that, like, forgotten, because like there's no
Yeah.
we both grew up and came up in comedy when like even the fact that either of us were doing it was strange. And
Yeah.
I started doing comedy when I was already married. I was already like in my 30s. Like both of us, like we're not
Yeah.
on the fuckable list.
No.
And so
Especially gays. Like, there are no gays out here doing it like this.
no,
Not really.
No.
Like, Mateo Lane.
yeah. At the time, I'm trying to think.
And I'm talking about comics, not like people who got famous and then now can tour.
Sure.
Because there's a lot of those.
Shade.
I'm not
This
talking
isn't
about
This is even the
pulling
Patreon.
fans. I'm not talking about people who could pull fans
Sure.
and make your fans laugh.
I'm talking about the grind.
For me-
yeah, people. Yes.
If your
Absolutely.
fans are laughing at you,
Mm-hmm.
you should be so ashamed that that's what you're doing. Because that's not what comedy is.
Peter, this
Comedy
is not
is
the
a
Patreon.
battle.
This is not the Patreon.
Comedy is a fucking war, okay? If you're doing comedy in front of friendlies, you're not doing comedy, babe. Okay?
You're doing a TED
having
Talk.
sleep.
Yeah.
You're having a sleepover. That's not. You're not doing comedy. What you did in Columbus, that's comedy. The battle. You know what I mean? Like, that's what comedy is. Showing
Yeah.
up to a room that doesn't know who the fuck you are and then grabbing them and turning them. That's what comedy is. To walk out to a theater full of your fans, that's not comedy. That's celebrity.
Yeah.
That's different, okay?
And I would love to do it someday. So if you want to go to thebestunjikim.com.
Sign up for the mailing list and come on out
I mean, like,
and
truly-
force that laugh for your fave.
I mean, there's like it's all of it is comedy, Peter. I think that there is
I
like
disagree.
a skill.
I disagree. I think
it's all
there's comedy, and then there's you being funny to the people that like you.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You hosting a dinner party without food is not comedy. Okay.
Yeah, that's a dinner party without food.
Okay? You're just sitting up there talking your shit in front of
To a bunch of people that are hungry, that
were
looking to get a sandwich.
invited.
Yeah,
that were invited, okay? I want to do comedy for people who don't ever want to come to anything I do and then
Yes.
have to be like, all right, fine, I'll sign up. That was pretty good.
Yeah.
So
You want to be a
way-
pop-up taco truck.
Oh my God! May I not have a real fucking food license?
Yes,
Okay.
yes.
May you only follow me on the Instagram and
wanna-
know where I'm parked on what corner. Okay.
You want
Like, that's what I like. That's what comedy used to be, and that's what when comedy is the best, when they don't know you.
Truly,
Because
like I mean,
that's
yeah.
not
Yeah.
that's just fan service at the end of the day. Like what these people, these comedians out here who are selling out fucking theaters and stadiums, that you're not doing comedy for people. You're just shucking for your fans. And your fans, all they want to see are the hits. Let me tell you. They don't want that new shit. They don't want you trying new stuff out. They don't want you having experiences and not delivering the funny story with your fucking shirt off. That
God,
you know what I mean? Like, that's not comedy, bro.
I mean, okay, I will say this. I am someone that is like, I think both of us are kind of comedy purists and having just come up in it in a very specific way. Even having gone through it, both of us also went through it from improv, so it's like a little different. But I don't know. I think now, even like the story about like all these like younger comics that have come up through Zoom and through pandemic who have very specific, like, it's crazy to me how many huge comedians have only been doing it for like have been doing it for under a decade. That because they have all this celebrity.
Yeah.
I mean, and the thing is, before this, the only other instance of that had been TV fame, which is what happened to Amy Schumer. Like, people like roasted her about it because she had to tour, she had to headline when she didn't have the time, and people would like
That's why she steals. No,
that's
I'm just
why,
kidding.
no, but that's why she did.
I'm
like,
kidding. I
think
don't know.
I think she
Yeah.
it is like pretty common knowledge, or she did because she had to, right? She's
Yeah.
in the club, she's trying to fucking get an act together very quickly, and that's not along a normal timeline. Like, people, if you're doing time and you're actually doing comedy, like, you know that, right? Like, people that are doing comedy and are writers are like, well, that doesn't make any sense. You could just write an hour. But it's like, yeah, you can write an hour, but that's not the act, honey. That's not an act.
No.
You know, that means that you can go to New York and here and that. That's not, you can't fucking hit the road. You can't do the funny bone. You can't do, like, you know, the ha-has. You can't do the hilarities, you know?
No.
And so that's what you're talking about. Like, that's not fucking comedy. But I think that now when I see these children that have come out and discovered their own audience and found a way into it, like, to me, I see it. They're doing the effort. They're doing the stuff. And they are freaking out about it because they're bombing in a way that is comedy. They are
Great.
bombing in a way that is like, and
That's
even if
great.
they don't,
You should be bombing.
but also
you should
if they're
not
not,
be doing huge shows before you can do the
time.
shows.
But even if they're not, because there are plenty of people that are social media stars that are not bombing, doing huge tours, Peter, and I will send you all of them because I follow them. To
Don't do this to yourself. Why are you?
Because the thing is, to me, what's interesting is who will sustain. Because some of it is like, I cannot begrudge them during this comedy gold rush putting out their pan and shuffling it around a little bit, looking for it.
And imagine how much you and I are frustrated. Imagine the people like Jackie Cajun,
Yeah.
who've been steadily doing comedy on the motherfucking road as a middle-aged white lady, not a mom, but mom adjacent.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Think about how pissed they are. They can't get dates because of some schmo on YouTube.
I mean, and this is the thing. I think that in order to
They have like 10 plus years on us.
well, absolutely, and
Yeah.
maybe 15, and like truly, like, because pros, right? So I think
Yeah.
I think when I think too much about it or spiral too much, like, what I've come to now, Peter, on the other side of it is that like I can't think too much about what is or what is not comedy. It has to be like what it is to me, because to them they might not even be thinking about it as comedy. To them it's all
Personal
showbiz.
appearance.
Yes.
Yeah, exactly.
It's all showbiz.
No, it is for sure.
And so it's like, to
you know,
me,
when
again,
I see
yeah.
these YouTubers saying like we're going on tour, and they're not like YouTube comics, they're like YouTube vloggers.
Yes.
And they're like, oh, we're going on tour. I'm like, what are you doing on stage? I was just do you know who the Sterniolo triplets are?
No.
They're like these 3 triplets.
Yes,
on
they are in the
YouTube, and-
car all the time. I know exactly who they are.
Yes,
Yeah.
car vlogs. They're
Yes.
very fun and
Yeah.
from Boston, etc. And I've been watching their videos recently because I'm fascinated by what they've been able to accomplish.
Yes.
And their tours and stuff and the meet and greets. And this is exactly what it is. But these kids actually understand that because they did 2 tours, I think.
Mm-hmm.
And they were talking about in their podcast how like their first tour was such hot garbage trash.
Yeah.
Because they got on stage and they had no presence. And they literally talk about like, we don't know how to be on stage because we're YouTubers.
Yes.
So we really need to figure out how to deliver a show
That's right.
to their fans
Mm-hmm.
because they were so, and they admittedly this is what I love about them, because they're very honest about like who they are and what they are capable of. And they're like, we need to like learn how to do something.
Yes.
Because we can't just go up there and talk and be shy, because that's not, and literally they're saying like, I hate the fact that these young people are showing up and their mothers are paying for tickets to show up.
Yes.
And they're sitting there with their kids and being like, we showed up to, my kid's a huge fan.
Mm-hmm.
And they're up there bullshitting.
Yes.
And they feel bad about that.
They
so
should.
they should. And you should be understanding like there's a value to selling a ticket and seeing someone live that's more than just you talking shit. Like
That's
you
right.
once you're on stage and people are seated, it's show business, baby. Show, not tell. And they are understanding that they have to learn like a skill. One of the triplets was like, I'm gonna figure out how to do a backflip.
Yeah.
Because like they're like, we have to learn how to sing and dance because this is too much. Like
Yeah.
and that's what I feel is missing in some of these internet comics, because at least these YouTubers know what they are and are not capable of.
Yes.
But internet comics don't understand that, because all you see on these clips is what you're regurgitating.
Yes.
And once you get on stage, you understand that's not a clip.
No.
You can't work towards clips in real
yes.
life.
And also you cannot. But also like the audience is starting to become savvier
Yes.
and expect more.
Yes.
And
Yes.
you're going to see this. So that's what I mean. Like, I think the long term, what's going to happen is it happens in any sort of industry. Anytime there's a boom, there is a bust, there's the market will correct itself. Nature is
Yeah.
healing. Like there has to, like there will be
Yeah.
like, you know, there will be a reckoning of some kind
Yes.
where
Yes.
at the end of the day, the chops, like I have to believe in a universe where it's not, where it may not be justice, but the fact that I have worked at a skill will matter eventually in some manner.
In some manner.
In some
That's the
manner.
key. That's the key, because it's I don't think it's going to be the manner that we thought it was going to be. And while you were
Yeah.
saying that, it
'Cause
really
I'm gonna be the host
made-
for this triplets fucking show on the road.
I'm going to be their meet and greet manager. No.
I'm gonna be the person like coordinating,
No, truly,
moderating
I-
this fucking discussion.
Yeah, I
it
really
will.
do think that'll happen, because it's evolving. The industry is evolving, and yes, it's been disrupted by TikTok and
Sure.
whatever, and now it's like Clip City, and people are screaming and yelling and heckling and whatever. And while you were talking about that, it really reminded me of like a singer, someone who has like trained their lives on and off and has become a technically proficient, amazing singer, even emotive, where if you sing, people are brought to tears.
Yes.
And you have that skill of being a showman, a showwoman, a show person, right? But the music industry has evolved so much that it almost doesn't even matter that you have those skills.
It doesn't matter.
Where
it doesn't
will
matter.
that skill come in handy? At a karaoke bar?
You'll be the best PTA mom. Like you can try, like, oh, ask Deanna. Don't ask Deanna's mom. She's really good at this song. I mean, this is, I was telling this
And
to,
I see that happening to us.
And no, I will never
Us
teach
as
at
in
my son's school.
comedians.
Oh, no, I would say unless they pay me. But like, I will say that there is something to it where, and honest to God, this happened inside of the fine art world many years ago. But there used to be a version of show business where someone, a gatekeeper, recognized and saw something in you and would pull you out and be like, you have this raw talent. Let me put together the machine. And what happened in fine arts and what's happening now is that no one is coming to look for you. You have to believe in yourself. You have to shine your own ass up and you have to put it out and believe in yourself, like in a monomaniacal, crazy way. So much so that you're constantly putting out content, constantly putting a vulnerable parts of yourself online. And then people are like, oh, this person is believable. Other people believe him. Now let's start pushing. Because in the fine arts world, that's what it was. Like,
Right.
You have to
the
believe in yourself.
gatekeepers went from producers to fans
Yes. And they have to
to
be
followers.
like, and even then, they're not even taking a chance on young. Like, they're like, oh, I really like this person. It's really democratizes so much so like that true fans, people that just like, but that means that because we democratized it, that so much more of the like gatekeeping and the taste making stuff, like it all is going towards this sort of like more broad humor, more of this, right? Like it's not being curated because we are bringing it to the people and to the masses. And so, you know, I do think that the market will self-correct, especially as the audience and fans of humor become more sophisticated. Because like in the early days of TikTok and stuff, people were going insane over, everything. And now I see it like people being like, oh, that's funny, but it's not going crazy viral. It's not doing this. It really needs to hit something very specific. I don't know. I do think like what's going to happen with these singers and same thing with us is like, I don't know. Kurt Vonnegut has this line where it's like, people used to now like talent and stuff like that just means that someone says to you like, wow, you really got drunk at the Christmas party last night because you like danced and you sang.
Ew.
And like, because the thing is that person,
no,
because he was like, it's in, I think God Bless You, Mr. Rosewater, but he was like, because times was that person with that talent. The reason why it exists evolutionarily speaking, is that every cave, every like sort of cohort of like, whatever grouping of cave people or Neanderthals or what have you, needed to have that entertainment. So someone had this kind of talent. And then you got to go, and then you entertained others. You told stories. You did this, right? Now, because all those like tribes have become aggregated, and now there's only the best of those arise. Only the best of those now rise. And now anyone with like anything less than a monomaniacal belief in self and crazy talent is, boy, did you get drunk last night.
Yeah, I'm realizing that not being talented might be an easier way to work.
Because you just
like it's almost like being talented is a hindrance.
It kind of always
like,
has.
I watched and we'll just wrap it up with this little anecdote. Last night I got super high and I watched Jackpot, this new feature film on Amazon with Awkwafina and John Cena.
Yeah.
Directed by Paul Feig. That movie is a masterclass in how to make something with absolutely no talent. The writing, the acting. I love Paul Feig. Paul Feig went from Bridesmaids to Hidesmaid. No, it's sorry, it didn't work.
Who was talking about talent? Where? What?
Yeah, I know. That's why I should be famous. But it was one of the worst movies I've ever seen. Nothing made sense. No actor was there was no real truth or honesty in anything. And even at the end of the movie, they made a joke about like, oh, the movies are over. They'll let a YouTuber and a wrestler lead a movie. And it was so like on the nose that I was like, oh, this is the end.
This is the end.
This is the end. Like,
Yeah.
you guys poured X amount of $1 million into this because of Aquafina and John Cena's clout and their fans. Amazon said, you guys have enough fans that we'll put you two in a movie with no fucking chemistry at all. Okay?
Yeah.
No acting skills at all. There was some like funny action, but that's about it. And the director didn't even like punch up the movie. You know, usually when you get a script, the director's there to like
Yeah.
make it their
Sure.
own. Clearly, Paul Feig did this as a money grab.
Sure.
Because there's nothing funny about it. There was maybe one line that was funny, and it was like a random improv line. So like, it was like, it really showed me that like, oh, there, in a way, there still is a like gatekeepery thing.
Yes.
Because someone greenlit this with no talent having asses.
And I'm going to get that person's email, and I will be reaching out to you shortly.
I highly
With an
recommend
idea I
you watch
have.
this movie.
I have an action
really-
comedy idea.
It'll
I
make you
do.
so confident about
it'll- yeah.
your skills, your ability to get lost in character,
Yeah.
deliver a joke.
Yeah.
The amount of time Simu Liu walked or moved during his punchline, I was screaming the entire time. I'm like, stick the fucking landing, Simu. Just say the fucking joke and then walk. Why is this so hard? Like, you can't. It's such a simple thing that, like, I guess non-comedians don't know. It's like, you have to deliver the punchline. You can't do anything else during the punchline, or else we will get distracted. You know, it's like a comic setting up a joke and then doing the punchline, but like delivering it, you
And
know,
walking over it.
wishy-washy. Yeah, it's like, what are you doing? And that is a director issue. All right. If your actor doesn't know how to be funny, you have to direct them into being funny. And that's what I'm saying is like, Mr. Feig was literally clocking in and clocking out because Simu looked crazy in this movie. Like,
Is Paul Feig, was he eating his sweet green during this
the scene.
during the scene? He didn't notice.
I don't know, girl. Like, it really made me sad. And
But that in the edit they didn't have a take that way he wasn't moving is crazy.
that's what I mean. Like, that's the best take you had?
Maybe he's racist.
I mean, I would believe it after watching this movie.
Ah.
You guys, everyone who is at all interested in entertainment needs to watch that movie because it will show you how talented you are and how good you are at what you do. And it might frustrate you, but it'll give you a sense of pride. And maybe that's all we
Okay.
get at
Yeah.
the end of this like fragmented industry. It's just a sense of pride.
Sure. I would also like 80 to like, $300,000 annually.
Okay, that's nice too.
Yeah.
A race to the bottom. Anyway, thanks for listening, guys. And
That was sort of
listening to us
inspirational and
rant.
sad at the same time.
I mean, that's Hollywood, baby. Welcome to Hollywood. Welcome to showbiz. Thank you so much. Check out the Patreon for all the piping hot tea and the career-ending gossip that I
Surely.
talk about. And join
That
us
Paul,
next week.
that Peter continues to insist on talking about.
Yeah, exactly. Names have been named.
Truly.
All right. Bye. Love y'all.
Bye.